is another great question. How do we make ourselves a priority when we're asked to constantly give service? Between service and my family, I have no time for myself. How do we make time for ourselves?
Well, I think there's an assumption there that maybe is a trap we fall into. The assumption is that the time for our families and the time of service is not for ourselves. I don't think that's true all the time. And I'm not saying, give, your husbands need more. Although,
really,
yeah. Oh, now you notice it's okay to say buy a dog, but if I say anything, okay, good.
You're excused, stage right.
Yes, ma'am. But the point is, sometimes my richest moments, just real quickly, I was with my granddaughter, Olivia. She's sitting on the floor right here in Rexburg, and I was being this dutiful grandpa. I was giving, right? So I was going to read a story or something really sacrificial. And I said, Olivia, and she said, Grandpa, I get the whole hand, She said, you have to wait. I'm being beautiful. And for a second, I thought, well, luckily I was here to teach you a thing or two. For me, that moment of service was way more nutritious than it was for her. And I think we need to remember that in those moments, Emily, when you saw the kids in the windstorm, that's the thing, right?
I think we have a misguided notion of balance. I think we think that we should be doing everything perfectly all the time and that is what balance would look like. If everything were done right and everything that we think everybody else is doing perfectly. And it's just something, give it up. It's not happening. Life doesn't really work that way, I don't think, but I'm going to give you another poem. I just thought this great, half a poem that I want to share. If thou couldst empty all thyself of self, like to a shell dishabited, an empty shell that you'd find, then might he find thee on the ocean shelf and say, this is not dead, and fill thee with himself instead. If you're filled with himself instead of yourself, then everything is time for yourself. That's the paradox of the gospel to me, and the exciting thing about it is that it's more about you than it's ever been, only when you figure out that it's not about you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm really sorry. That's kind of goofy. But that's when you figure out that it's all time for yourself. That everything that you do is making time for yourself, even though it's so exhausting.
And you get to choose. You get to choose what to do with your time. And if you don't want to do that, don't do it.
Yes, I agree. I think we also need to remember time for ourselves does not have to be an hour long. It doesn't have to be escaping from the home. My family laughs at me, my extended family, because I do not shower. I don't want to. I like to start off.
She smells really bad.
No, that's not true. I like to start off my day with a bath. I really do. And why do I do that? Because I have 5 minutes of me time, of soak, of just sit and prioritize, of start my day off really super slow. It's not a lot of time, but it's mine. It's my time.
And because you're little enough to fit in a bathtub.
But I have to add, on top of that, though, I think sometimes as mom, we lose ourselves in our family and in our husband by accident. I don't think we do it on purpose, but by accident we do. And I'll never forget, after I had been married several years, I one day was talking to my kids about lasagna, which is one of my favorite dinners ever. And my kids had no idea what I was talking about. They were too young. They'd never had lasagna. And I realized I've never made it because Greg hates it. He cannot bear to eat it. And so I'd removed it from my life. And then my kids didn't know what it was. And that's not right. It's okay for us to have lasagna.
We've broken an eternal principle. Like children didn't know what lasagna was.
2 of my children love lasagna, just for the record. Okay. 2 of them hate it. They take after their father. But it's okay to put yourself back in your life. Give yourself permission. That's Make true. Lasagna if you want to. You can do it.
With cheese, right?
Lots of cheese.
And I just want to say, too, sometimes for me, and I completely agree with what you've said, but sometimes I really do have to say I need date night. and I need to go out to dinner, or I need to shut the bathroom door and have a bubble bath. And my days start by getting up earlier than everybody else so that I have time. It's just half hour, but it's just by myself when I don't have to talk to anybody. And so sometimes I really do have to to carve out something that is legitimately mine. It's scrapbooking or it's whatever. And it's not all the time, but it's enough that I feel like I have some me time.
It's important.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's just close quickly with this question. It's a good one, too. What are your truths? Kim, can we start down there and just work our way over?
What do I know? And Laurel challenged each of us to write this down, and I've done it a couple of times now. I think if I was going to write I am happier, I am a better man when I don't forget to say my prayers. If I say my prayers, I'm a better guy.
Every time I come to time out and she gives us that challenge, I want to know something new by the time that I leave that day. And what I've learned from this time out, this time here in Seattle, is that I know I need God. I know I do. With Him, I am nothing, and that is a truth. Without Him, sorry, thank you, Chris. Thank you for filling in. Without Him, I am nothing. With Him, I am everything.
He's sort of the lasagna.
I'm so confused about lasagna. I'm making Greg lasagna. I live behind her, so I'm going to make him some. And he won't turn it down, because who's going to say, I don't like this blind lady? You know?
I hate to say this, but he'll just pretend he's eating it and you won't even know. You can only see that. You can.
This is the best part. Wait.
All of your microphones are turned off, I'm sorry. I'm just going to be beautiful for a minute, so just stop. Can I say what I know now?
No.
Good grief.
No, you cannot. No, Joe, you got to turn this on because she thinks I'm skinny.
Okay,
So
I'll
no
just,
one tell, okay?
Shh. You at the end. Shh. This is not a timeout for men.
I'm sorry.
I just want to say that I know that the struggle is worth it.
Right on.
And I know that Heavenly Father knows everything about how imperfect I am and everything I do wrong, and He loves me anyway.